This is quite literally happening all over again. The exact Bitcoin cycle is exactly being repeated. Bitcoin is continuing its descent to the downside, obviously giving clear signals that we were headed for a bear market, and my first buy targets have already been hit. So we need to be talking about that exactly and much more in today's update video. Why do I think we can be headed even lower, and why is Bitcoin dumping now? Well, definitely a lot of things we will need to discuss in today's update video, so make sure to watch it all the way through. And as always, let's get started with that shorter time frame. And in a shorter time frame, Bitcoin is quite literally continuing its descent to the downside. We have been getting another rejection, and ever since that moment, we've been seeing an absolute free fall to the downside for Bitcoin. Obviously, we have been losing the 50 weekly moving average, which because of that, we have been officially trading in a bear market now. Now, definitely in the shorter time frames, we might be expecting a bit of a relief rally, and we can be expecting a bit of a dead cat bounce. We are sitting at a big level of support now. And yes, if we have a look into some fundamentals, some indicators, like for example the Bitfinex wheels, they've been opening up some big long positions, which they've always been doing at massive macro bottoms. On top of that, we have also been seeing extreme fear for a very prolonged amount of time, and usually this is also always confluencing with a bit of a short-term bottom. On top of that, we are seeing big short-term capitulation, which we can also always see whenever we tend to form bottoms. So yes, I do think that in a shorter time frame, we could potentially form a bit of a bottom and see a bit of a relief rally back to the 50 weekly moving average, just like we have always been doing every single cycle. Every single cycle, whenever we have been losing the 50 weekly moving average, yes, we have been entering a bear market and we have continued to the downside. But first, we have always seen a relief rally back into the 50 weekly moving average and then continued even lower, then continued the bear market. So I would not be surprised to see the same thing all over again, to see this dead cat bounce into the 50 weekly moving average with our current indications, with our current indicators quite literally screaming at this. But definitely for that medium time frame, well, I've been getting a lot more worried. I've been selling off a lot of my cryptos, quite literally exactly at the top, because all of the warning signals have been there, and right now it is becoming more and more obvious. And I just find it quite hilarious that the exact 4-year cycle is exactly playing out all over again. And it's quite funny because nobody thought that it would repeat again. Everybody would have thought that this time is going to be different, but whenever everybody thinks that this time is going to be different, usually it's not. For this cycle, we exactly reached that time period where we were topping out and the narrative just started to form right after. We saw our initial first dump to the downside. After that, the narratives were starting to form. For example, we have been seeing a lot of layoffs and the labor market is starting to weaken, which has been causing rate cuts, which are recessionary rate cuts. And like we have been having a look into, this is usually bearish, okay? And only just now, after the fact, people are starting to point this narrative into the current price dump. Only after the fact, people are having a look into this narrative. But we have already been having a look into this beforehand. I have already been saying many times, these US interest rate cuts, which we are getting now, are recessionary rate cuts, which are always bearish for the markets. Now, for the stock market, it is also looking very dangerous with these big RSI bearish divergences. Let me load up the RSI indicator. There you go. You can see on the weekly time frame, big bearish divergences being created all of the time. And this is also being always confluencing with massive macro time frame tops. Now, I'm not going to be calling any kind of a top for the stock market. I think it's going to be too risky. But one thing is going to be for certain. What is happening right now in Japan with the Japan carry trade? Well, it is looking like it is about to unwind again, which is definitely going to be crashing the markets. And also, really what we're seeing now is just kind of a Ponzi with Nvidia being pushed up like crazy, with all of the investments that Nvidia is making into Oracle, Oracle is making into OpenAI, and it's going full circle back again from OpenAI back into Nvidia, and then the circle kind of repeats. Well, this has been happening all of the time. Now, it is a bubble, but I do not know when the bubble is gonna burst for the stock market, for Nvidia. I do not think that anybody knows when the bubble is gonna burst, but one thing is going to be for certain, eventually it will. For Bitcoin, I think it is much easier to predict the tops because we have cycles, we have on-chain data, we have a lot more indicators, we have a lot more things to look at, and that is why it is much easier. And pretty much it is quite funny because the exact cycle is exactly being repeated again. More about that exactly a little bit later. But first of all, yeah, if you're going to be getting interested in trading yourself with this massive level of support, with maybe potentially a dead cat bounce coming up, maybe catching this bounce, or maybe shorting the retest of the 50 weekly moving average, well, make sure to check out that second link down below. Because with that second link down below, you can claim a free 30 USDT trade over on 2bit, which is definitely very interesting and very valuable to check out. Make sure to sign up on this this link. Just sign up a new account, no deposit, no KYC is required, and there you go. A free 30 USDT will be deposited into your account. So make sure to be checking it out right now if you like that. Also, if you're going to be depositing a little bit or trading a little bit, you can also be claiming some huge rewards on top of that. So 2bit is definitely very generous with its offers right now. Make sure to sign up. Anyways, yesterday I've also been creating this dedicated video about how you can exactly claim your $150 free trade. So make sure to check that video out. Anyways, yeah, we have been absolutely on point for this entire bull market. Only just during the bull market peaks, I've been getting a lot more cautious and I've been getting a lot more worried. And this is just because all of the warning signals were, quite honestly, blatantly obvious. We have been having a look into all of these warning signals for so many times. I've been screaming about it on my channel, like you can see on my channel. For example, also 2 weeks ago, my final warning: this is dangerous. All of these videos over here at the exact top. Pay attention now. Bitcoin target hit. Big resistance coming up, the final push right over here. And also before that, this time is not different. Taking profits here, etc., etc. And all of the signals were just very obvious. I've been saying that we're gonna liquidity grab above the previous highs, and then it's gonna be over. And that is exactly what has happened. We've been at the far end of the 4-year cycle. We have been leaving the green weekly bars even, and quite honestly, right after we have been leaving the green bars, we've been instantly dumping to the downside, just like we have been doing the last bull market, just like we have been doing in the 2017 bull market, and after that the bear market. So yeah, the 4-year cycle has been hitting a peak. We have been hitting my level of resistance, and we have been seeing that liquidity grab at the top. The end of the 4-year cycle is here. We are seeing a dead cross now, which has always been indicating the bear market start. Altcoins like Zcash are pumping like crazy, which is also a massive topping indicator. On top of that, again, like the 4-year cycle has stopped. The MVRV score, so on-chain indicators, have been hitting a massive top as well, with this downtrending level of resistance exactly being hit, with bearish divergences being created on the MVRV score and also on the apparent demand, with fading demand but the Bitcoin price pushing even higher, clear bearish divergences being created like we have been doing every single bull market, and that has been marking the bear market. Now, the dollar currency index is also pushing back to the upside. So yeah, it hasn't been looking all too good. OG Wills have also been selling a lot of their Bitcoin. So, I mean, it was quite obvious, right? I've been saying this many and many times in all of my videos. It was quite obvious. I've been telling you, I've been warning you about it many and many times. And in the past week, I've been setting my bear market targets. I've been setting my levels where I want to be buying, and already my first level has been getting hit. My first spot buy has already been getting hit. Now, I'm going to be utilizing a dollar cost average strategy, and the lower we will go inside of these levels over here, the more aggressively I will start to buy. That is my strategy myself, and like I've said, you should always already set your bear market strategy at the bull market top, because now you can have rational thoughts. You operate out of the emotion of greed, and that is why you can set up much better levels now if you set up the levels now and if you act on it, probably this is going to be your best strategy. Just like you should set your bull market targets at the bear market bottoms when you operate out of a state of fear. Okay, my exact bull market targets that I've set during the bear market exactly got hit, because my bull market targets were sitting between 110 and 140k level. Anyways, very good opportunities coming up right over here. Make sure to utilize it. Make sure to stay tuned in the crypto market. Make sure to stay active in the crypto market. Now, I also do think that MicroStrategy is going to be a pretty good buy. MSTR is going to be a pretty good buy in its blue box right over here for the coming bear market, for the coming cycle. And Coinbase stock is going to be also a pretty good buy at this red box over here. And I do think a new coin, Ultima, is going to be approaching over here in 2029, about March. Okay, so I think that will be the time where we're going to see the Ultima. Before that, we're already going to see the bull market, but this is going to be the time where I think we're going to see our next Ultima for the Coinbase stock. Let's see about that, if I'm going to be right. I mean, a lot of things can happen, and this is also what I want to be saying. Maybe I've set up my game plan now. Maybe I've set up my strategy now, but a lot of things can be happening on a day-to-day basis. I mean, if we break back above the 50 weekly moving average, I'm very ready to change my strategy and adapt very quickly into the market, because if we break back above the 50 weekly moving average, we might be actually entering a continued lengthened cycle. So you need to be adaptive in the market, you need to be ever changing your strategy, and you need to be active and aware in the market every day. You need to be active, you need to be here, because only then you know what is up in the market, what is happening in the market, and what is happening behind the scenes. Anyways, guys, with that being said, a little bit of a shorter update video for today, but definitely make sure to check out all of the links down below. And anyways, guys, with that being said, I'll see you in another update video tomorrow morning.